Welcome into Dallas Mavericks. Today, I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys watching today's show. Getting closer and closer to training camp, which means the season will be here before we know it. Perfect reason to subscribe to the channel. All right. Could it be the return of Jae Crowder? Maybe. Brian Windhorst of ESPN reports that the Suns have made Crowder available on the trade market and have been very active in potential deals. Now, Jae Crowder is a winning piece for contending teams. He would fit exactly what Dallas needs, which is more wing help. He's a good 3-and-D player, can guard multiple positions, pretty solid three-point shooter, although he didn't have his best year last year shooting the basketball, although he shot it pretty well against the Mavericks in that second-round series. He was shooting lights out. I think he can come in here and give you 36, 37% from downtown, 8 to 10 points per game, and play some solid defense. Obviously, he started his career in Dallas, and now he could be on the move as Phoenix is reportedly shopping him on the open market. Some reasons to bring him in. I talked about the versatility. Can play the 2, 3, or 4 on offense, on defense. He's a foxhole guy, team guy. He really, really helps. And it takes pressure and minutes away from Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, those guys were playing 35, 40 minutes per game in the playoffs last year, sometimes more in big games. So you need some wing help, just like I need some allergy medication. So, hey, you know, I need one thing, the Mavericks need another. Maybe Jae Crowder is the answer to get some wing depth. That was a sneeze. Grade the sneeze down in the comments. All right, here's the trade idea we cooked up. Dwight Powell and a first for Jae Crowder. Okay, maybe giving up a first for Jae Crowder at this point in his career isn't super ideal, but you could possibly talk me into this. Now, I would rather do like Dwight Powell, Josh Green in a second if I was Dallas, but I might be willing to give up a first if that means you also get rid of Dwight Powell. Mavs are certainly trying to move Dwight Powell. I think they've been open to doing that. Suns are trying to move Crowder. It could be a win-win. Yeah, you lose the first, but you know what? Dallas is trying to win right now. Suns could use some front court depth after losing JaVale McGee to the Mavericks, so maybe it's a win-win proposal for the Mavericks. Who wins this trade? Type DAL for the Mavericks, type FPHX for the Suns. Let us know in the comments. Mavs, Suns, who wins this trade? Pin comment on today's video. Now, coming up on Mavericks today, could Chris Paul be on the move, and could the Mavericks be in the sweepstakes? We'll explore that momentarily. But first, on today's show, if you love what we do here at Chat Sports and here at Mavericks Today, that makes you a real one, so type real one in the comments. Also, get a real one t-shirt today, chatsports.com/real one. Different colors. You got kind of the Mavs blue here that you could rock with if you want to go that route. But you got red, black, purple, green. This green is pretty close to the Mavericks throwback green. Chatsports.com/real one. That is chatsports.com/real one. The classic black is always a good look as well. Get a shirt today if you are a real one and if you love what we do here at Chat Sports. All right, let's keep the trade rumors going. CP3 to Big D. Who knows? The Mavs could be in the mix here if the Suns were to go this route. Now, I tend to think this would be more of like a mid-season type of deal, like say the Suns start really poorly and, you know, they're just in total disarray after what the Mavs did to them in the playoffs last year. Now, Chris Paul, who we love to make fun of because of his playoff shortcomings, is a Hall of Famer and arguably the best point guard of his generation. He's certainly in the conversation. Now, I would rather have a Steph Curry or someone like that, but Chris Paul, in terms of just being a distributor of the basketball, a floor general, is one of the greatest point guards of all time. That's a fact. I'm not a huge fan of him personally, but as a player, you can't dispute what he did. I mean, he averaged almost 11 assists last year, guys. That's pretty rare in today's NBA to have a true pass-first point guard, and that is what Chris Paul is. Now, the potential fit here is interesting, and we'll explore that here in a second. But first, I want you guys to sound off. Would you take Chris Paul for 1 year on the Mavs? Type Y for yes, type N for no, because he is 37 years old now. Get your votes in down in the comments section. Now, does Chris Paul make you a true contender, like next step contender? If he does, and if you can pull off a trade, you should absolutely do it. But he's 37. He's certainly not a number one option. Well, the nice thing for the Mavs, you don't need a number one. You've got Luka Doncic. And I think Doncic and CP3 could fit well together. We saw Chris Paul fit well with James Harden, who was pretty ball dominant in Houston, and they were a pulled calf away from Chris Paul of making the finals one of the years the Warriors went. So I absolutely think that he could fit next to Doncic stylistically. But you would certainly have to, manage his limit or his minutes. He's going to miss games, but still a good player in my opinion. Now, he didn't play well in the playoffs for the Mavs, which is why I think you'd have to load management or manage him and not run him into the ground during the season, but you wouldn't have to. He could miss 20 games, and you're perfectly fine if he's ready for the playoffs. I think it's interesting. Here's a potential three-team trade that we cooked up. Chris Paul to the Mavericks. Mike Conley, Bojan Bogdanovic to the Suns from Utah. They replace Chris Paul with Conley. They get Bogdanovic, another good scorer. And then the Jazz, they just continue to add assets. Davis Bertans, Dwight Powell, Landry Shamet, a first-round pick, and a 2026 pick swap. Is that enough for Utah? I don't know, but they get out of Conley and Bogdanovic's deal, so it could be a decent deal for them as well. Now, would you do this three-team trade? Type T for trade, type P for pass? Yeah, I'd probably do it. I don't think the Mavs are losing that much, if I'm being completely honest. And they get Chris Paul out of the deal. Again, he's old, and he's come up short in the playoffs, but doesn't have to be the top dog here. You got Luka Doncic to carry you to the finish line. Just need a sidekick. I think Chris Paul can be a sidekick. Yeah, and my overall take is where the Mavs sit right now is they need another viable option to be a true contender in the West. Yeah, they're coming off a Western Conference Finals appearance. You lost Jalen Brunson, though. I don't think Jalen Brunson's a true number 2, but he's the closest thing you had to a number 2, and you don't have that right now. Is Christian Wood going to be that guy? Maybe. We love Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't think they're true number 2s. They're really good role players, really good, even starting caliber players. But a true Robin to Luka's Batman, you don't have that on your roster right now, in my opinion. We were hoping it was going to be Porzingis. We know how that played out. So we'll see. I don't know if Chris Paul can be that guy. I don't know if he's the answer. But if he's available at some point this year and the Suns decide to move him, I do think the Mavericks could be in a bidding war with some other teams. All right. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button here at Dallas Mavericks Today. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. We're going to continue to bring you the latest Dallas Mavericks news and rumors. We'll probably do an updated roster breakdown video as well before training camp gets here, so be out on the lookout for that. That should be coming at some point in the next week or two. The latest news and rumors as well. If any trade buzz continues to arise, we will have that covered. youtube.com/MavsTV. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on today's show. Please subscribe because we will continue to bring you the latest and greatest Mavericks coverage here on YouTube. I am Harrison Graham. Give me a follow on social media at HGrahamNFL. Cover the NBA as well. And we'll see you next time here on Mavericks Today.